All right, this is the video that I've been sort of hinting at for the last, I don't know, few weeks to friends. When we bought the house we're in right now, one of the big reasons we chose this place was because of the basement and an area that we wanted to designate as like our Walls Dungeon Tavern. And the dream was that we would have this area, we would celebrate gaming. It would be like the ultimate gaming space to have friends and family over. And then the coronavirus hit. So we have not been able to show off this room to everyone. There's been some pictures, but that's about it. So I thought we would do today is a brief tour, like crib style, with no editing because I can't edit very well, of that room. Now, it won't be the whole house because our house is kind of a mess right now. As you know, everyone's houses are right now, people that are like spending as much time as possible in their own homes. But we'll get a good feel of, I think, our celebration of gaming in our little Walls Dungeon Tavern from this video. And maybe at some point we'll do a video of the rest of the house. But until people can come over and actually play with us, this is about as good as we can do. I will apologize for the hair. This is my COVID-19 style haircut. I don't know how bad it's going to get. Probably pretty bad. So without further ado, let's delve into the tavern here. I don't know the best way to film this direction here. We'll do it this way. All right. So first off, I should note that this room is designed to be sort of a celebration of two aspects of gaming. The first being video games, and the second being role-playing games and board games and stuff, right? So there's different phases of this room as we move through, or areas, and you can see there's sort of little Easter eggs all over the place. The first being the one up, because you go one floor up, right? I don't know. All right, so behold, the Walls Dungeon Tavern, the room of glory, the room I've dreamed of for years. It's not even finished yet. There's a lot of areas not done yet, but just because I didn't feel like waiting until I didn't feel like waiting to film the whole thing. I thought we'd do it now. But I'll show you the unfinished areas too, and maybe you guys can help with the plans here. So we start off with our tribute to video games with a tribute to my marriage to Jennifer. So and then below that is a tribute to my favorite JRPG probably of all time, which would be Chrono Trigger. So these are both shadow boxes. I got them on Etsy, and the top one was a Valentine's Day gift to Jen, and the bottom one was a just gift to myself. So we wanted to put as much video game stuff down here as possible, especially Nintendo stuff, because that's sort of how we roll. So as we move throughout the room here, you can see there's our little Mario tribute, although Cooper's more the Mario fan. And then more Chrono Trigger. And then we move into what really is the I don't want to call it the heart. This is maybe the stomach. The stomach of the room. Because the heart is the gaming table itself. So this area here is our sectional. We got this at IKEA about 10 years ago. And it was, if you're a friend of mine that's been in my house in North Huntingdon, or our apartment in Glen Mills, you remember that big blue couch with the denim cover? This is the same couch, but we had it recovered because that's the glory of IKEA. So as you come into this room, you will see that we have our new television that was supposed to be mounted to the wall. Here is where the mounting bracket was from the previous neighbor or previous owners of the home. We had to take it down because it was sort of like a Frankenstein setup. It was three of the corners were screwed in correctly. One was completely loose, and it looks like she had super glued that side to the wall. And I was not comfortable putting this TV up. So I don't know what's going to happen to this wall here. We may put up some kind of like fake wood or stone cover, like wallpaper thing there. We may finally mount the TV, but I like this height. This is a good height for me. I don't like TVs where, like, when I'm sitting down, I want to be like at eye level with the television, especially for video gaming. So that's just how I like to do my TVing, right? I know some folks like them up high, not us. This wall here is the other blank canvas that we have, and I'm not sure what we're doing with that. The original plan for that was to also go on Etsy and get a Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild like mosaic, but then the quarantine happened. So I don't know what's going to happen there. There was actually no art in this room. It's supposed to be all video game art. This is as you can see, our amiibos are out. There's on one side of the area there is the I can't remember a songbird from BioShock Infinite, and the other side's the Big Daddy. We have our Nintendo Switch dock over here, and then underneath you have a Nintendo section, Nintendo Wii section. So this is the Switch side, the Wii side. There we go, and the Xbox side. We don't have a PS4 or a Xbox One. We are an all Switch household. I'm quite proud that in this house you can go to any television and hook up your Switch. We have Switch docks at every TV because there's 4 Switches in the house. And then in the corner, besides the fact we have Fuzzball from Captain EO, the art we put up in the room for right now, at least for the moment here, I'm not sure where we're going to hang this. This is a piece of art my mom did when I was young, and it's supposed to be Boy Scout flashlights coming out of the dark, because my mom was one of my Scoutmasters. So I don't know. We thought the room needed some light, especially right now with it kind of being a dark and bleak world out there. So we thought it'd be a tribute to have that up. So that may stay down here. It might go upstairs. We're not sure where it's going to go, but for now, it lives there. All right. The other side of our seating area is over here. We have some more fun art. We bought at an art show, and it's dark in this corner, so you can't quite see it. But one on the top is like a tribute. It looks like to Mario Kart kind of gaming, and this one down here is sort of the same art, but I think it's the same artist. The top one says Mario Kart Party in the Woods, and the bottom one doesn't say anything, but it's Atari. I didn't have Atari, I had Intellivision, but that's okay. And then in this corner, we've just got, a chair. Over there are some of the, what are they called? The Skylanders and the Disney Infinity characters. We have a ton of those, which I guess you could use for miniatures gaming if you wanted to. And then finally, I have my Spock Bear. Not the biggest Star Trek fan, but I got this, I think, for Father's Day from my kids. So anyway, that's the front of the room, and then we progress into the rest of the room. I think the last tribute here of video gaming as we enter, the last 2 tributes, there's another one on the other side here. Still playing. This is our Final Fantasy 1 tribute. Again, more pixel art. We got all this pixel art, or most of it, I think. Yeah, most of it, at Save Against Fear. Collected over the last 2 years at someone there who does those as iron pixel things, where they iron the stuff or whatever, and they grill it like a grilled cheese, and the pixels melt. So I really like it. So the plan is to put more of it in the room as we get more of it. We have some more art over here in the corner, including an original Todd McGowan on top here from Carnival the Damned, and then more Carnival the Damned art. This stuff was sent to Evie by David Beatty a few years ago, after she almost won a Carnival the Damned tournament for DCC, and we framed it because it's awesome. But if the front of the room was the stomach, this is the heart. This is the game table and gaming area for tabletop role-playing that has never happened in this room, including the bar itself. The bar I've always wanted to have in a basement, and now I have it, and yet it is just us for the moment. If you watch our show regularly on Twitch or on YouTube, you might notice that we do all of our recording back here now in the room, and this gives you a chance to see sort of the area, I don't know, from a different angle. So first off, we have our board game area. This is a pair of Calyxes, but they're the Calyxes from IKEA. And I should note now, this room is pretty much almost all IKEA, with the exception of a couple pieces of Wayfair and our table, which is an actual piece of, furniture from a furniture store. Not that IKEA isn't furniture, it is, but I mean, IKEA is superior furniture. IKEA is IKEA. I wouldn't call it furniture. I call it IKEA. I don't know. All right, this is 2 calyxes that are bolted together, then turned sideways, and it's perfect for board games. I don't know what you'd call these calyxes. I know there's the ones that are the typical square one, and these are like a kind of a weird, goofy shape. And we have all of our board games here essentially on display. And the idea being you could just grab a board game, start playing at the game table or the table, and I guess go to town. On top, to pay homage to gaming and DCC of all variants, there's our rat skeleton and our Morty skeleton. Morty is obviously from Planescape Torment. We made him out of plastic eyeballs and a skull from Halloween, and the rat skeleton that is bearing the Warlord of the Purple Planet medallion and the DCC medallion. Well, that's come from different tournaments. We would bring that rat to various games with the Norman Game Nights, and it would be on the table holding down like dead characters. So we kind of like that. Got some more art on this side. First, we have my eldest Duffy Bear that she did, the Devil Duffy from Disney World. So I had to put that up because it's Devil Duffy. We have over here the DCC RPG Sword of the Darned. That's what we wrote on there because Evie won't say damn. That is Evie's sword from from Medieval Times that she got a couple years ago. So we hung it up with a modified Dungeon Crawl Classics RPG cup holder or beer cozy. And then we have some art over here. These are prints of, I know it's hard to see this, but there's a print for the cover of Grimtooth's Museum of Death, and a print from the back cover of the DCC core book, both of which are by Doug Kovacs. All right, so let's see, which direction should we go? Maybe we'll end at the computer and we'll go to the bookshelves first. How about that? Let's do that. All right, so to start the tour of the gaming space here, so we have the table, and let's do it with the table. This table it's pretty hard for me to give this one up. I thought about getting a game table, a more professional game table for years. And I say professional, I mean, like professionally designed just for gaming game table. And I'm having a really hard time doing that. And it's not that, we couldn't make the investment at some point in the dollars of it, because I think, there are some reasonable ones out there. It's the fact that this table is you ever see that meme or that where it's someone says, what's your favorite game controller, and someone shows a picture of a dining room table? Like, this table has had dozens and dozens of my players play at it. There have been so many dice rolled on it. It is busted, it is beaten, it is stained, it is broken. We're, I think, missing 2 of the chairs that went with it. We've got a bench from maybe IKEA underneath it right now that's for one side. But this has been our main game table for so long. And if I think about any good experience I have in gaming when it's in person, it's typically been at a game store or at this table primarily. And to give this table up right now would be really hard for me to do. So at least for the foreseeable future, until it can't take it anymore, this is our game table. So I don't know. I don't get that sentimental, but I do. All right. So anyway, let's talk about the books, because really, if this is the heart of the game room, this is the brain. So we've got this is the stomach. Spleen, because you don't need a spleen. I don't need board games. I do like them though, and I probably like my spleen. Heart, brain. Over there is like the central nervous system. Does that work? Or the skin? Ugh. All right. So when we wanted to put together something for how we're going to display the books, I couldn't decide if we wanted to get another 4x4 calyx, or if I wanted to get another couple 2x4s, or if we wanted to do a 5x5. What we ended up doing is, you can tell, is a pair of 2x4 calyxes, a 3x3 in the middle, and then it kind of gives us 3 segments. It's not all gaming books, I will be honest. It is also graphic novels, some other books that we enjoy, like the complete works of Shakespeare are down there. My parents got me that for Christmas, I think my senior year in high school, because I was reading a lot of Shakespeare. It was my junior year in high school, maybe. We've got, but most of it's gaming books. Most of it is, and we'll go through what gaming books I have, just briefly. I won't bore you with all that, but I will a little bit. But to start off at this end, what we have, and this was supposed to be a cool area for folks coming over, is we have this shot glass case. And in this shot glass case, let me move the TARDIS here. We have all the custom miniatures done by Hero Forge. So we have Cooper's, Sebastian Skelet, which is his Deadlands character. We have Judge Evie's Betty Bunker from DCC RPG, and then the miniatures that have not been painted yet. So, for instance, Calachlora Cloud from DCC, our gnome minotaur, our gnome centaur. So these need to get painted still. I haven't done that yet. Also, things I should be doing during the quarantine, but haven't. But the whole idea was going to be that if you come over and you have a Hero Forge miniature, you can come in and grab it and put it on the table. So we'll keep using that. And inside my this TARDIS are my favorite candy of all time, which really is their lifesaver peppermints. So you'll find little wrappers all over the house. So down here we have, I can't remember what this is called, but I have a few of these. I have 5 of these of various sizes. These are also IKEA, and these are like little, I don't know, they're for a desk, but I don't use, or for filing, but I use it for miniatures. So, painted miniatures that I've painted myself, a few that are pre-painted, but not many. So this is all of them. A lot of Reaper Bones or Reaper, some D&D miniatures. In the way back there is some minis I painted when I first started painting in college that looked like crap. So let me see if I can grab one of those ones just to show how sucky they are. Like, here's one. This one sucks. I mean, I you can really tell in the camera here, but this is a dude I did in like 1999. It was bad. Whereas, oh crap, I just dropped him. Whereas this bro, I did last year. So I've improved. Hooray. So we have humans and heroes on top, and then as you go down, we have animals. Obviously, I still have work to do. A few of these, again, I haven't painted. These are from Dwarven Forge. But I painted the crab. And then, kind of continuing going down, we've got monsters and humanoids. I think the next row is otherworldly stuff. Yeah, like samurai down here, and Western miniatures and stuff. And at the very bottom, we've got monsters. And we've got the very, very bottom, unpainted. And then my collection of these guys down here are all from Fairy Meat. So here's a gnome, a 1-to-1 scaled gnome with a machine gun. So a lot of these are works in progress. They've been cleaned, or they've been primed, or they've been, I started them, I just didn't finish them before we moved. So we've got Shovel Knight and Shield Knight, which is me and my wife. I like to think about that as that being us. Her being Shield Knight, the stronger one, and me being Shovel Knight, the one that shovels. And then as we progress across, we have the Tribute to Deadlands, one of my favorite settings. I have a lot of Deadlands stuff, a lot of Savage World stuff. This first shelf here is mostly Savage Worlds and Deadlands. I did frame some of the prints from the Deadlands Kickstarter when they did the Deadlands Classic 20th anniversary. And another thing I have on this shelf, besides the graphic novels, is I have a bunch of those down here. As we go to the bottom, I have my Crimson Sky stuff. This is like one of my favorite games ever. I love Crimson Skies. I own everything for Crimson Skies, pretty much. I own all the miniatures, and then more I have like 50 unpainted Crimson Skies miniatures, about 60 painted Crimson Skies miniatures. It's a game I wish I had played more of. I kept painting them through college and into my early years of our marriage. I only played it maybe 5 or 6 times since then, which is kind of sad. I also have my tribute down here to ElfQuest, which was my first comic book I started reading. I love ElfQuest. I haven't read any of the new stuff, just the older stuff. I mean, the other graphic novels, I'm not a big comic book guy, but I have like the Six Gun, I have all the Mouse Guards, I have a lot of Hellboy, and I also have Frostgrave, which isn't a comic book, but it's down here. One thing I do collect and save, or we collect and save, is every single convention we go to, we hold on to the program and we file it. So, for instance, the very first one I have in here would have been Gen Con 2014. So that's the first one we started collecting, all the way up to Save Against Fear 2019 and the PAX Unplugs. We have both of those. There's 2018, 2019. I don't know what our first con of 2020 is going to be. I don't think there's going to be one of these printed out for Cyclops Con. Not sure I'm doing Cyclops Con right now still. I'm still on the edge of that one just because of timing and work considerations. But, you know, hopefully by Save Against Fear in October we're back. So... But that's this shelf here. So it's mostly Deadlands and Savage Worlds, and a little bit of, there's a Mouse Guard role-playing game here, which I don't really play anymore. I think it's pretty, but Burning Wheel makes my brain hurt. And that's that. All right, so the middle of we start getting into the realm of DCC. You know, because we have our 2 giant Clásicos del Mazmorra, which I believe is just Dungeon Crawl Classics in Spanish. Poster boards. I got these at Gen Con 2000. They don't away from the wall. No, they're good. Everything is up with command Velcro, essentially, the whole wall. So anyway, I got these at Gen Con 2015, and I won them in a raffle thing. I had to spin or roll a die or something like that. I won one of them. They gave me both. It was like the end of the convention. I won both of them, and I used to take these everywhere. They'd come with us to whenever we were running DCC in the community. We would bring these with us. At the top of this, obviously, is another skull. Lots of skulls. The Declaration of Independence is in here. This is the real one from Disney World. Our DCC the Lunchbox is here. And then I keep these 2, I guess they're CD cases or letter envelope cases. But in here you would find a lot of the small zine size or zine style adventures and books. So, you know, this is Dread on Demon Crown Hill, which I ran with on the game nights. I've got all of my crawls are in here, the ones I have in print. You know, here's the Leopard Women of Venus pre-Kickstarter preview that I got from Joshua Burnett. So I keep all these in these boxes just to keep them somewhere safe. And then moving down in the middle here, I try to have this center core be like the fantasy RPG section, because that's sort of the core of my hobby enjoyment anyway. And so it's a smattering of stuff. We have, you know, Dungeon Crawl Classics starts on this side with 2 core books that we have. Both are 4th printing with the cool and fun, you know, what are these called? I don't know, finger marks, I guess. That's not the term, but I called it finger marks. There are right now 4 DCC core books in our house. Cooper has one. Evie has one, and then we have 2 down here. One of which is that one you just showed off. This is the one I play with, and then the one I just keep for show is my Peter Mullen cover, my favorite cover. I just love this cover. This is like DCC to me. It's an alien god that's like sleeping connected to hoses. I think that's really cool. And the annual's next to that because that's where it's supposed to be. And anyway, so that's DCC, and that's where that belongs in the heart of the shelf here. We have more DCC on this side, although I organizationally wise, I tried to shift it over. Like there's all the program guides are over here for DCC. My How to Write Adventure Modules Don't Suck are over here. Cthulhu Alphabet. I do have the Unlucky Squirrel. If you've ever played a game with us at a game store, typically Unlucky Squirrel is here. I will put him in front of players who have the lowest luck, so I know who it is. Originally, this was a figure I painted, like a lawn ornament that I painted, designed for fairy meat gameplay, like a tank for fairy meat. But now he's just Unlucky Squirrel, and he sits in here. And then going over, we have our Shadow of the Demon Lord stuff, which is the most recent RPG I started playing. I do have some gaming things in here, in that I have a couple of like Ultima, like clue books, like from the old. This is Ultima 7 and Ultima 7 Part 2. If Chrono Trigger is my favorite JRPG of all time, Ultima 7 is probably my favorite CRPG of all time. Dragon Age is pretty darn close. I really love the Ultima series. I've only finished 7 Part 2, and that was it. I almost finished Ultima Underworld 2. It's really hard. I've got a few more comic books. We got Saga up here, and I've got Rat Queens. I really enjoy both of those. And then I've got a lot of second edition stuff. A whole lot of second edition stuff. So, the bottom down here is Ravenloft, and then I've got my brown books, my green books, my historical books. You may have seen me talk about some of this stuff when I did my OS Rebellion vlog series. My old second edition stuff, my very first book that I owned, which was one that I bought, which was for $8.90. My mom got me this from Toys R Us, which is an old DMG. I had a player's handbook, but she threw that out. I had to get another one. Dark Sun's in the middle here. I've got a smattering over here of stuff, including the 5e starter set, the only one we own in the house, some basic fantasy RPG, some Hackmaster, Fantasy Age, Dragon Age is all down here. And then up the middle here, this is all my MCC stuff over here, and DCC Lankmar, some more second edition stuff, some rule cyclopedias right here, look at that. Some ElfQuest, the RPG. I actually got that before I got the comic book. I loved elves as a player character race from D&D 2nd edition and thought this would be just like all elves. It kind of is. And then some adventures in the Eastmark, which was a gorgeous box set. I wish they had done the other boxes in English. I would definitely buy those. Oh, and then the Making of the Dungeons and Dragons, the movie. Classy. So that's the center core of the shelf. This is like the ultimate full-length shelfie. And then we move into the Monty Cook Games section of the room, which is essentially the top over here, the black cube from Invisible Sun, some of the art in the wall. So that is essentially all of the stuff on top over here. And there's a lot of this for a couple of reasons. I play a lot of Monty Cook Games stuff, a lot of Cypher System, a lot of Numenera, a lot of the Strange, and my wife works for them. So, I get to, I don't know, we have, I don't want to say easy access because it's no easier than you do, but, there's a lot of fun stuff that we own. Let me just say that, okay? So, we got the Black Cube Invisible Sun, our stuff for the Strange, our stuff for Numenera, Cypher System, just base Cypher System, and then over here is more Numenera, and then more Invisible Sun, Arcana of the Ancients, which is the newest stuff, is down here for 5e, even though I don't play 5e, because I'm not a 5e fan. And then crossing over here, I love the MCG maps, and my favorite maps for MCG, there's two of them in this room. Both happen to be associated with Bruce Cordell in some way, because they're both his settings he wrote. But the first is the Gods of the Fall map. And Gods of the Fall is the superhero fantasy game, or fantasy game superhero game for Cypher System, where you play as a god. All right, so it's dark fantasy with a twinge of hope. I love that game. I've only played it a few times. I wish I played more. And then the other map is somewhere else. I'll show you that. I will say that I have in the corner of glory up here is my Strange stuff, because the Strange is my favorite Cypher game. I love the Strange. I think everything is connected to the Strange in my head. So even Numenera is taking place in the Strange in my brain when I'm playing these games. But the Strange definitely hits like every perfect note for me. So much so that I had to put up my Kickstarter backer certificate for the Strange is framed near my Lattimore character portrait that was drawn for me. I can't remember. Was it Jay McCulley? I think. Is it James McCulley? I can't remember his first name. But my friend who commissioned this for me was Jeremy Land, and he got this for me. It was my character from his. Was it his game? Yeah, it was his adventure of the Nightmare Switch, and it was a really cool character. So over here we have some also the bookends for Numenera, and we have some art from No Thank You Evil. There's some art up here for No Thank You Evil as well, and that is the Cypher side of things. Down towards the bottom of the shelf we go. I have mostly sci-fi things kind of organized. So Age of Rebellion, Edge of the Empire, Star Wars RPG, Alternity. I loved Alternity. If you don't know Alternity, I'm sorry. Alternity was my favorite role-playing game of the early 2000s. I love this game more than 3rd edition, more than 3.5, more than 4E. I played a lot of this in the end of college, and I would have kept playing it if everyone wasn't like so gung-ho on 3rd edition. It was really hard to get people back over to this. But I ran everything from fantasy to like X-Files stuff, because I have the Dark Matter campaign setting. I own everything you can for Alternity, except for, I think the only thing I don't own, and I can't get this in there right now, I'll put it on top for now, is the Alternity Gamma World. I even have the Alternity StarCraft box somewhere. I just don't know where it's at. And then some additional books up here. So some Savage Sword of Conan that I got for my birthday last year. We have Hoyle's Encyclopedia of Games. Some random books. So that's sort of it. That's the books. And then behind me here is the Dwarven Forge. I'm going to hold this differently. So all three of these here, all three of these bins are I bought just for Dwarven Forge. And each one is organized so that if I ever want to get people down here in person again, I can just easily build from my caverns, from my Dungeon of Doom, and then over here, this is all the ice caverns that I have, all organized. I have room in here for the Hellscape stuff that's coming, but it's not arrived yet. I don't know when that's going to arrive. So when these are open, it's going to be a good time. And at the front of this, kind of bolted on, is this came from Caverns Deep Kickstarter. It was like a scroll from Dwarven Forge. I really thought was pretty cool, so I framed it. I framed anything cool. Now we're in the bar, which is the central nervous system of the room. We wanted to give the room a feel of having like an actual bar, like a tavern. And I could have paid for a really expensive bar to put up, but I don't have that kind of money. So instead, we got this off of Wayfair, and this is like the bar. So you can have someone at the bar serving people if you want. It's not a wet bar, it's a dry bar. Or if like you just want to stand up, like maybe you've had some hard gaming and the group has broken and someone's upstairs getting snacks and you have a beer or whatever or soda, you could be here at the table. You know, this is our favorite incense holder. This might be going. We have our Mickey hat, which is covering, this is my Sorcerer Mickey cap, which is covering, some coasters. So you could be up here, just hang out, sit. The other option is, as a GM, since I would almost always GM from this side of the room, I have this here for a couple reasons. The first is, it's just kind of cool to have a table in your basement. And the second reason is, if I'm standing here GMing, I can have some books at the ready behind me to reach over and grab. So it's a nice feature, a nice design of the room I can't do anything with because we aren't gaming down here really yet. Have some cool art on the wall. These are both originals by Doug Kovacs that I purchased at Gen Con and at Gary Con. This one over here is from the one of the 4E monster manuals, and I always thought this is a really cool golem. When I played The Strange in a long-running campaign with Jeremy Land, running it, we were some of the play testers for the Dark Spiral. My character, Cypher Merrick, when he went to the world of Arden, he had abides in stone was his focus, and this was what I envision as abides in stone. You know, this big stone golem. So that's pretty cool. And then this is like medieval kids playing a sandbox like tabletop game. So I like that. All right. So over here we have the Nook, the tavern, the bar area, and we have my second favorite Cypher System map on the wall over here, the World of Arden, which is from The Strange. And I had to frame this one too because, well, first of all, I have a couple of these maps. I have a couple of Strange core books, so it wasn't hard to frame one of these. I still have some spares. And then the other reason I like this map is because I love the world of Arden. I run a fantasy campaign in Arden for the Cypher System, and it's a pretty cool place. It's essentially it is a MMO that has been turned into an actual world. So I don't know, get The Strange. It makes more sense. We have some boxes down here. For instance, this one here, or this drawer here, is full of maps by Christopher West. So I have all my Chris West maps down here sorted and organized. And then we've got, this is all terrain trays for Dwarven Forge. We've got demo stuff that Jen needs because when doing demos for Monty Cook Games. And I have DCC swag. So that's this side of the room. And then turning around into the corner here, going back down, I have another one of these little shelves. This one doesn't have miniatures in it, though. This one is, well, first, this one's adorned with DCC RPG nunchucks. But this one here is, I wanted this area here to be for sorting all gaming materials. So this is all dice. All of my dice are in these, and those are organized also by preferred system. Like I have dice I'll use for DCC, dice I'll use for Savage Worlds, dice I'll use for Cypher System, and by type. I have like all kinds of dice in there. I have the dice maps in there that you can roll, and it has a map face. I have a whole bunch of what are those dice called? The ones that have the images on them. Why am I gotta grab it now? The story cubes. Lots of story cubes for random story generation. So those are all there. My mom knitted me this dragon egg up here, so that was pretty cool. And anyway, so I have random swag on top here, whether it's a Grimoire for Frostgrave, my PAX Unplugged Dice Caddy. Not Dice, why did I call it Dice Caddy? I think it's Dice Corral. I should note this, videogameshadowbox.com is where I got those shadow boxes in the front. These came with them, you know. Going down, I have playing cards. Further, we have maps. We've got, this is the All Savage Worlds bin. This is the All Cypher System bin. And this is the DCC bin. Again, each bin has, whether it's character sheets, this one here has GM screens, and I have dice in here. I have a dice box in here. These are teal dice. Yeah. So I have my Cause of Death stamp. So really just a way to sort this stuff so it's not all over the place. So we can back up to the bar. You know, 'tis the season of cough drops. So if you need a Ricola, whatever, they're here. Tissues. I don't know where I got these, but these are, how it says on here, Inner Ham 2016. These are DCC RPG character sheets in a business card. So those are kind of cool. We have Dale Dogfoot. Dale Dogfoot was Evie's character from the few games of Shadow of the Saga of the Goblin Horde at our Delaware Valley Savage events, and my good friend Mike created a Dale Dogfoot cocktail. Mixed this classic goblin cocktail using 2 ounces of kachaka, 1 ounce of lime juice, 4 ounces of kiwi juice, and 1 ounce of simple syrup, which he says works, but I don't know how to juice a kiwi. That's pretty dang hard. So, but I got this this thrown together, and it's to have this over the bar is pretty cool. And then we really get to the end here, which is, I don't know, some majestic glory. We have the purple planet, the Peril of the Purple Planet mosaic wide print here. It's just the poster that I got, I think at at Gen Con. Just the poster glued to a wavy piece of particle board that I cut out. And this used to be above our bed in our apartment. So my wife was cool enough to let us have this hanging in our bedroom for a long time, but we moved, it had to come down. I have my wizard staff from Yukosatron Rex from Gen Con 2019. It's a full LARPing staff. I could use it to beat people with, I guess. And then finally we have my Lankmar map, which was a absolute bitch to hang. And we weren't sure how to do this one because there's so many different size poster map holders. None of them fit this map. I'd be interested to know how you all, fit this map. I bought this map like as an extra, so it came in that, it came in that tube. This was the cloth one here, or the fabric one, whatever. But this is a weird, wonky size. I mean, Goodman Games, I love you, but I mean, like, what do you do with this thing? So what we did was command hooks make they make, what's it called? Like clips, command clips. If you can see these here, and we took 6 of them and we clipped them to the wall and they're ready to go. So, when I run Lankmar, I can essentially sit down, look to my right and say, where's Cheap Street at? Okay. Where is Carter Street at? Up there it is. And I could be sitting next to my computer and looking at the map. Or if we're playing Lankmar in here, and we had a good live game of Lankmar going before the quarantine, I could have the players run over here and look at this map, or put a map on the table. So it's kind of nice to have that up. I'm glad it's up. It's working pretty well. It's warping a little bit, but it's cloth, so it's fine. Behind the bar, really, I mean, this is the stuff no one should be looking at, right? So we have just, as many pencils as we could. I don't like having a shortage of pencils, so the pencils are down here. A copy of the Goodman Games Gazette. You always need the latest copy of this. Puppet. We have a few of these around the room. This is a bucket full of luck tokens and bennies. And then some miniatures and a little bottle of Dark Trails Old number 666 Old Scratches Eldritch Hooch. I got the bottle empty, but I did fill it with something, which might be hooch, might be apple juice, might be just brown Delco water, not sure. So there you have it. That's the Walls Dungeon Tavern. I mean, there's nothing else to show. There's some bloody gnomes down there. That's kind of creepy. But my hope is that that as the quarantine comes to a close, hopefully sometime this year, people can go out and about and hang out. We will have some guests over to hang out in the tavern. We could game, we could, I don't know, just whether it's playing a board game, playing Frostgrave, playing DCC or Shadow of the Demon Lord, we could do any of that stuff down here, or just come over and play Mario Kart. So that's our hope, that's our plan, and one of these days this room will be used for that reason. So that's that. If you have any comments about the room or ideas, especially for these 2 walls, maybe a mural goes up on this wall designed by my eldest and my mom, both artists. We could put a cool fantasy mural up here. Maybe you have an idea for what to do with this hole. Maybe just repaint this thing. I don't know. I'm not really going to be doing any kind of home improvement stuff while the quarantine's out. While I would love to give business to Lowe's and Home Depot, my idea of what's it called? Social distancing is not to put people at stores at risk because I want to do these walls. The walls can wait. This walls can wait for these walls, okay? But any ideas you have, we'd love to hear them. And please give us your feedback and your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Maybe watch some of the other videos we have, and if you have, links to maybe pictures of your gaming room, whether it's something as elaborate as I'm trying to have, it's still not the most elaborate stuff. I've seen way cooler than this. I do think this room does give, what's his name? Joe Manganiello's room a run for his money. It will be when this area is done. This room will rock Joe Manganiello's room, especially when I start figuring out what to put up here, which I'm thinking weapons. Weapons hung way across, and I'm not sure what kind. Maybe just foam weapons or LARP weapons, but weapons, that would rock. But if you have any ideas, we'd love to see them. Please send them over, or pictures of your room, send them our way. Yeah, so that's that. I hope you enjoyed the tour. It was long, so I'm sorry about that. But I thank you for viewing, and we will see you on Sunday. All right, good night.